Hello everybody, Mahojo here. This is the first episode of a new series called Revisiting the Old God. Now, what does that mean, Revisiting the Old God? Bit of a cringe title, but it's a cringe subject. What I am doing is I'm revisiting these old figures, these old YouTube or otherwise online right-wing figures. You might remember back in 2016, 2015, 2017, that sort of time. YouTube, at least politically and socially, was dominated by big right-wing figures, millions of subscribers, some of them over 10 million. People like Steven Crowder, Mark Dice, Ben Shapiro, just loads of people. Baring, Sidney Watson. There are quite a few of these people that had their heyday, and now they're washed. But you might be thinking, and I was thinking, okay, but what about now? What do these people do now? My head's horrible. I say this every time. But what are these people doing now? Well, I'll tell you what they're doing now. Exactly the same thing. They make, this is a bit mental, they make basically exactly the same videos that they would make in 2016. They are still in that like SJW feminazi wrecked era. It's crazy. Like, they have not evolved at all. They have not moved on. They have not changed with the times. They still just make the same type of content. But as you may see, some of them have just escalated things, escalated the bigotry to be a lot worse. So this episode, we're looking at Mark Dice. You might have heard of him, you might not, but you might not even recognise him. You might recognise him without recognising him. He got big originally, I think even maybe before 2013, 2014, doing these man on the street. You might have seen this trend a few years ago. Man on the street asks Americans a question, they don't know the question because they don't know geography, they don't know history, whatever. These edited videos where you're probably going to edit out the people who are reasonable. He'd get big off doing these like right-leaning, like right-wing implied questions where it's like, you look at these young college students. You've probably seen quite a few videos like that in the past. He was big on Facebook. You might not even recognise him without seeing him, but yeah, that's his name, Mark Dice. Big. 1.91 million subscribers. Basically all of them were achieved before 2020. Every single day he does right-wing like culture war videos, and it's the same tone, the same production, the same editing, the same style, the same pasty face. I'm having an LED white light blasted into me right now because if I don't, it goes fucking dark, and I'm white as fuck, and like I look a lot less pasty than this guy. But we're gonna look at Mark Dice. I've got up a video that was a month ago. Some of the racism in this video is off the charts. I laugh nervously because it is shocking, but the stuff that you can get away with saying on YouTube now, I think that's indicative, and I think it's important. I think it's important to look at, because even though in their little sphere they were more dominant in 2016, 2017, the advancement of the intensity, the severity, what people in the right wing, at least in America, feel like they can get away with is a lot. So let's look at this video. Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett has a new mission, and it's hilarious, capital letters. Okay. Posted by Mark Dice a month ago on the 9th of December 2025. I just thought this one was interesting because he really goes after black people a lot. It's weird. He harkens to an older racism, I feel. A lot of it isn't necessarily this modern thing of like Mexicans, illegal immigrants. He's like bad with it. Let's have a look.
Jasmine Crockett, the biggest ratchet garden tool in Congress, made a big
3 seconds. Jasmine Crockett, the biggest ratchet garden tool in Congress. So obviously he's trying to say ho, and ratchet is a term of being uncouth and unclassy. If anyone isn't aware, that is black coded. If you're a ratchet hoe, you're unclassy and uncouth in a black context. Straight away. That's how he introduces Jasmine Crockett. Jasmine Crockett, by the way, is a representative in the House of Representatives in America. I guess we'll have to start that again. We're 3 seconds in.
Jasmine Crockett, the biggest ratchet garden tool in Congress, made a big announcement yesterday. She is too big, too important to be just a member of the House of Representatives. So she announced that she's going to be running for Senate in Texas, even though Texas hasn't had a Democrat senator for 30 years. But she thinks she has what it takes to break that streak.
There are a lot of people that said, you got to stay in the House. We need our voice. We need you there. And I understand. But what we need is for me to have a bigger voice. What we need is not only a voice, but we need to make sure that we are going to stop.
They're going to stop Donald Trump, but she needs more power. She can't be just a little member of the House of Representatives. She needs to be Senator Crockett. And
by the way, to get us out of the way, Jasmine Crockett is not a particularly good person. She's a very slightly better Democratic member of Congress, but she's just a politician. She seems to be in it for the bag. She seems to be in it for the power. Seems to be in it to get a career, get some respect. Obviously, that's not how you say things like that. What we need is for me to have more power. She's a bit of a girl boss, you know. You got to respect the grind, but in terms of policy, in terms of actually advancing the Democratic Party leftward to hold up a real resistance to the same forces that got Trump in power, not just Trump himself, the end symptom, putting up any sort of resistance to the increased financialization and, you know, basically pillaging of the working class, stopping these speculative bubbles, stopping these things that cause massive financial crashes, stopping any of the underlying things. She's a little bit useless. That notwithstanding, let's continue, because it gets worse. I've seen this before.
And obviously the size of her sign is about the size of her ego. Way too big. Here's her first campaign ad, which of course doesn't mention anything that she's going to do for the state of Texas. It is all 100% egocentric and consists only of Donald Trump calling her a piece of trash.
Yeah, so basically he's going to show this ad again. It's a bad ad. It seems very ego driven. Again, he is correct on that. No policies, no nothing. She's running on the anti-Trump card. Something interesting you can say about this though is that the fact any semi-competent analyst or semi-competent politician thinks the fully anti-Trump, no policies, I'm running in Texas on the idea that Trump hates me strategy is at all realistic is a big sign. We know Trump's approval is tanking. It's below 40% now. Obviously shocking that it is almost 40%, but it's below 40% now. They've burned up all the political capital. A lot of people are turning because they fell for it again, and that's their fault. They're stupid and they're probably not very good people, a lot of them, but they fell for it again, and now they're suffering. Their lives have gotten noticeably worse in like less than a year. Oh, just about over a year, sorry. 20th of January. It's now the 23rd of January. In a year, their lives have gotten significantly worse in ways that can be traced back to Trump. The fact that Jasmine Crockett is running primarily in Texas, the Lone Star State, on the platform, the positive platform of Trump, who you just voted for, hates me, that shows progress towards the Democrat Party. Again, real progress is probably not going to come in the form of people like Jasmine Crockett, but maybe it will. She does not seem to me like a fully ingrained, like sort of bloody deep state asset who, you know, would die at the altar of BlackRock or Boeing or Israel or whatever. I think she's more of an individual, like grifter, huckster. Again, she's not even a senator yet. She's a House rep. She's a relatively new, relatively young House rep. Maybe she'll get washed over and brought into the sort of cult of like the only thing that ever matters. It's not even your individual grift. It's about maintaining a certain ecosystem, a certain financialized capitalistic ecosystem. But she doesn't seem to be like that yet. I think she just wants to girl boss individually. She just wants her bag individually. And you know what that'd be good for? Getting on board with the hype. The real movers and shakers like Mamdani, like Katie Wilson, who's now the mayor of Seattle. Mamdani has been, everyone knows who he is, even very apolitical people know who Zoran Mamdani is, new mayor of New York, already getting things done, already improving things, few weeks. A less big figure is Katie Wilson, the new mayor of Seattle. Been the mayor of Seattle for a few months. Things are going pretty well. Real movers and shakers and people who really care might benefit from someone like Jasmine Crockett, who wants to ride a more individual and I guess you could say more small scale hype wave. So I'm gonna watch out for her. I'm gonna see what she does. The sort of modern neoliberal way of doing things, the very Chuck Schumer way of doing things, Eric Adams, Nancy Pelosi, that just infinite growth, you know, insider trading, we can all get along, we're all a big club and they're not in it. That seems to be running out. It may have to become more individual, and Jasmine Crockett's only young, so we'll see how her particular career plays out. But there might be room for her to be an asset.
How about this new one they have, their new star, Crockett? How about her?
She's the new star of the Democrat Party, Jasmine Crockett. They're in big trouble.
But you have this woman, Crockett. She's a very low IQ person. I watched her speak the other day. She's definitely a low IQ person. Crockett. Oh, man, oh, man.
She's a very low IQ person.
Somebody said the other day she's one of the leaders of the party. I said, you got to be kidding. Now they're going to rely on Crockett. Crockett's going to bring them back.
She is cringe, though, obviously. We know that she's cringe. The raised fold, the high up folding of the... Yeah, okay, yeah, we get it. She's cringe. Now he's going to call her the N-word. Basically, he's basically going to just call her the N-word without literally explicitly calling her the N-word. But in a couple of years, who knows?
Democrats always drink way too much of their Kool-Aid. Imagine being so delusional that you believe that you have what it takes, being Jasmine Crockett, to become a senator in Texas. And speaking of delusions, here's Don Lemon.
People love AOC. People love Jasmine Crockett. People love Eric Swalwell.
Oh, great. Bill Maher. The real front line of leftism.
And the like. And I think that the Democrat...
We all know what kind of people he's talking about, because the only ones who actually think that these people are qualified for anything really barely qualify as being people.
And
okay. I think he means black people. The only people capable of thinking these people are likable barely qualify as people. This guy is evil. And one of the points I wanted to make with this series is a lot of people my age will have watched these people when they were younger, in 2015, 2016, 2017, and it all seemed quite milquetoast. It all seemed quite innocuous. But what you've got to remember is, with a surprising amount of these right-wing people who say that they have reasonable concerns, you know, and they love debate, they love the free trade of ideas, they just want to sit down and work out these differences, man. They are waiting for any opportunity to put you on a train and send you to a death camp. Mark Dice believed these things in 2016. He's shown no progression, no change, no escalation. All of the people that I'm going to go into in this series have been like that the whole time. They're waiting. Do not trust a right-wing public figure when they say they have reasonable concerns. You need to already treat them like Mark Dice. Because think about it. If you're right-wing, if you're conservative, and you go down that, and you believe in these fundamental things of like, you know, maybe it's quite common that people of different demographics are fundamentally different, maybe biologically, spiritually, whatever. Maybe there's certain hierarchies that should exist, maybe more hierarchies than there are right now should exist. Society should be more hierarchical, more stratified. There should be more levels, more layers to society. If you believe in those fundamental things and you go down that line of thought, why wouldn't you just start going off at black people? Why wouldn't you just become like a simple racist? You can philosophize all you want and and he's written books. You can write the books. You can, you know, consume all the online debate content you want. But at the end of the day, if you've got that faulty foundation of thinking that like hierarchy and shame and anti-intellectualism are things to be revered and prioritized, you're going to find yourself, not find yourself, but why wouldn't you be the same person that 10 years later, as soon as you're allowed to, just wants to call black people the N-word? And do much worse, actually materially do things to them. Let's keep listening.
The like, and I think that the Democratic Party should put the people out there who the people want. They should put the politicians out there who the people want, who they're.
I think Don Lemon. I think it's Lemon. I think he purposely says lemon because it's funny. I think Don Lemon has stumbled upon an ancient idea of politicians should be likable. Scientists are still working on this. They'll get back to me later. But I think he stumbled upon a genius idea here. Slightly wrong people. AOC is left-leaning. Jasmine Crockett is not anything leaning. I think she just wants that bag. Eric Swalwell. No. But he's gesturing towards a leftward shift without committing to it. He knows that the leftward winds are in the air. He wants to signal that. Maybe it's half genuine. Maybe he wants to signal downward to the voters and to the public that that's something that they need to do and are going to do in like a what's it called? Misleading sort of way. I don't know what I'm thinking of, but misleading. Let's say misleading. But there could also be in the opposite direction. He's signaling upward and sidewards to his Democratic peers and superiors that, hey guys, maybe this should happen. Like, I'm not going to start saying things like Mamdani, Bernie, Katie Wilson. I'm not going to start saying those words, but I'm gesturing towards something, and I'll use it for our safe ones. I'll say AOC. I'll say Eric fucking Swalwell. I'll say Jasmine Crockett, because they're the aesthetically left-leaning ones. So you know what I mean when I'm saying this. I'm signaling to you, I want this change to happen. We need to do something about this. We need to survive. We need to make sure capital interest survives this. And if that means going back on a couple of things, if that means conceding on a couple of things to the working class, let's have that discussion. He's doing it in a safe, clinical, DNC-approved way, but he's signalling here, even though it does just seem like he's saying, politicians, actually, guys, my team of 20 analysts that all get paid 200 grand a year have told me that we should put people forward that people like. But he is signalling populism, basically. He's signaling populism, he's feigning it, he's not genuine, but he's signaling we need to do something to at least address the unprecedented level of political apathy and misery. Especially to not give rise to socialist alternatives, or to be completely taken over and gutted by a blossoming seed, a little seed of socialism that has taken root in the Democratic Party.
See, he's confusing the circus of cable news with being the average general populace, because I guess having those clowns on those networks does boost the ratings, because they're the equivalent of the Jerry Springer show in a news veneer.
No, they're a bit more popular. They don't capture hearts like real leftist leadership does, but you can tell there's a very tight correlation there. AOC is the most left-wing, oh my god, that's so sad. She's the most left-wing political figure in the federal government, really. Maybe Rashida Tlaib is a bit more, or Rashida Tlaib. And she has the most hype. She's the most popular. She polls well. I mean, Thingy polls well. Jasmine Crockett, Eric Swalwell polls relatively well. But maybe I'll just like have a code word for when he's like, because like we know he's lying. We know he's gonna lie. Like look, we know he's gonna lie. Maybe I should just put like a finger up whenever he tells a lie that I don't want to go into further. So let's go.
But the average American couldn't care less. Has zero respect for any of these people. Eric Swalwell is like the dork in high school who always wants to hang out with the cool kids. And you feel sorry for him because he's nice and he means well, but he has nothing in common with you whatsoever. Or you just feel sorry for him. So you're like, okay, fine. You can come to the party. The guy is literally best known for ripping one live on the air.
The evidence is uncontradicted that the president used taxpayer dollars to ask the Ukrainians to help him cheat an election. And the complaint that I've heard...
Thankfully, Eric Swalwell...
That was so epic.
...is drinking the CNN and MSNBC Kool-Aid. He announced, that you may have heard, that he's running for governor of California. But back to Jasmine Crockett, whose campaign for Senate I fully support for strategic reasons.
When I first became a public defender, I had no criminal defense experience. And I walked in and I told my boss, Charlie, I said, listen, you should hire me. He said, why? I said, because I'm black. Charlie looked at me like I was crazy.
Not because of her education or her dedication to the field or her extreme passion for law, but because she's black, just like Martin Luther King wanted.
Yeah, so she does also do a bit of like very stupid identity politics. Identity politics is a bone that you throw people and a pacifier that you give to people when you have nothing material to say. She's a certain brand, she's a certain vibe, she's girl bossy, it's very identitarian. She's a distraction. That's why she's been supported a little bit by the DNC. She hits a certain vibe. Yeah, what else are you going to expect from a Democrat? It's identity politics, but does she give that much of a fuck about institutional change? No.
Tell us about the platform you're running on and the source of your inspiration for what you hope to be your signature legislation.
Just this past week, I saw, I don't remember which celebrity, but it was actually a
Celebrities know it best, obviously.
celebrity, and I was like, I don't know that that's not necessarily a bad idea.
The reason that I'm responding to this is because this is not low-hanging fruit, and this is the problem. Democrats and like fake left-leaning people, like people who are meant to be the opposition, people who are meant to be like the working opposition, the left, like the Democrats or in the UK Labour Party, that are just right-wing, they give a lot of fuel to these far-right fires. Now, they'll make whatever up anyway. They'll say whatever anyway. But it helps them to do these sort of stupid identitarian, you know, I'm cool and I'm gonna be a great leader because I'm basically a black girl boss. When you say that, what do you think you're doing? Well, they know what they're doing. They're distracting and they're making these dramas and they're feeding into the culture war. And then Mark laps it up. I don't know how smart Mark Dice is. He could be dumb, or he could really be like a fucking Nazi mastermind. I don't fucking know. I feel like on some level he knows what's going on, and obviously he's consciously using that to be like, look at what they're doing, they're trying to take over. And then the implication of that is that he can't quite yet say on YouTube is that violent things need to be done.
But I'd have to think through it a lot. One of the things that they propose is black folk not have to pay taxes.
for reparations.
For a certain amount of time, because then again, that puts money back in your pocket. But at the same time, it may not be as objectionable to some people about actually giving out dollars.
Thank you, DNC, for your, left-wing people's opposition. Thank you for the media environment you're creating. I wonder what titan intellectual Mark Dice has to say about this. Who am I kidding? They're sort of on the same side as Mark Dice, aren't they? Maybe not Jasmine Crockett herself, but the people backing Jasmine Crockett, remember this, they are the same people who back either financially or just politically Mark Dice. They are the same people.
But obviously then you start dealing with the different tax brackets and things like that. And that's one of the reasons that, we argue the reparations make sense, because so many black folk, not only do you owe for the labor that was stolen and killed and all the other things, right?
Listen, lady, we have more than compensated black people for the past injustices from generations and generations ago. Not to mention hundreds of thousands of white people died to free the slaves in the Civil War.
At least he's not, openly yet pro-slavery. Maybe it's done through some sort of nationalistic thing of the Civil War, as he said. Maybe he's like a union guy and he has union family. I don't know, but at least he's at least pretending to be anti-slavery. Let's see how he ruins it.
And I'll say it because few people have the guts to. Black people living in America today should actually be grateful that their ancestors were brought here, because otherwise...
Oh no, sorry, he's doing the cowardly fascist quantum thing of that thing was both obviously bad and kind of good. Sorry, I forgot he's a fascist. This is a part of fascism, direct contradictions held at the same time. The biggest thing of this, if you want a bit of reading, go look at this list a guy called Umberto Eco made of, I think it's 12, is it the 12 points of fascism? But he made a big list of what defines fascism, because it's hard to do it in one or two lines. But this is one of the big things. Being strong and weak at the same time. You're strong and weak at the same time. Your enemy is strong and weak at the same time. Like, to a Nazi, Jews are both these, like, extremely weak little things that are going to be effortlessly crushed by their so-called Aryan race. But also, they've managed to take over the whole of society with very little resistance. You obviously disavow slavery. Yeah, like so strongly. He just did it then, and 3 seconds later you say, but also you should be grateful. It's the classic genocide thing of, it didn't happen, but also you deserved it. He's almost doing that exactly. It didn't happen, and you deserved it. He probably does the same about the Holocaust.
There's a very high likelihood that they would have been born in Africa, in a dirt hut, with no running water, no toilet, and not even owning a pair of shoes.
We know this is bullshit, but I might as well just go through it anyway for posterity, if it's any use to anyone. So, the reason Africa is so fucked up is precisely because of centuries of Western ravaging, British, French, and then later independent American ravaging. We fucked Africa for like 200-300 years. A dirt hut. Sorry, sir, are you talking about bricks? You do realise that bricks are also sort of made out of dirt. That's called clay. A dirt hut. This is, again, it's a classic fascist thing, an overemphasis on aesthetics. These little, I call them bumper sticker phrases, these little bang, punchy phrases. They love talking about dirt huts. They love it. I used to see in these bloody Discord servers, when I was like a teenager, these like gamer Discord servers, when I was a teenager, they would always go on about the dirt huts, because it sounds bad, but there's nothing behind it. If you make a mud hut or a dirt hut, that can be very strong, sturdy, protect you from the elements. it's sort of the same as like brick. Like, it's just unfired, and some of it is fired. Mud bricks can be fired. It's a very common thing in different parts of Africa to get a furnace and pack a mud brick. They just make bricks. It's just called, it can be stone. The Romans made sort of mud huts, lime. They use quicklime. Some of the sediment that they use will have lime in it. There are chemicals in soil and different things from the earth. Everything comes from the earth. We live on the earth. That you can shape them and you can set them, and it can be a perfectly viable brick. And it can take a lot of skill to make a mud hut because you're making a house. The Romans, you could argue from that logic, made mud everything because it comes from the earth. You're using sediment from the soil. My house, the house that I'm living in, you could argue that it's a mud hut because clay is filtered from mud. It comes straight out of the mud in rivers and streams. There's mud right there. You have to sift through the soil and dirt to get clay. But yeah, another indication that he's a fascist if you needed it. Yeah, if we fucking left Africa alone, it would be okay. A lot of people, like, you don't necessarily need shoes. Shoes are kind of like a cultural thing. Like, a lot of people walk through very rough terrain without shoes, and the bottom of their feet callous, and it can become very strong to I mean, so many Aboriginal people, so many Australian Aboriginals, they walk through some shitty terrain, but because the bottom of their feet is calloused and hard, even if you step on like a spike, it's fine. But yeah, he doesn't care. He just wants them to die. I don't want to, oversell the case here, but it's just true. If you watch these people long enough and you think about the implications of what they do and what they want and what they would actually do if they ever got power, it becomes very clear that they just want people to die. They just, listen to me, he just wants people to die. He just wants suffering. He wants slavery and rape. I'm sorry to say the word, but yeah, that's what he wants. And suffering, and screaming of children, and crying, and starvation. This man is evil and needs to be disempowered.
Instead, they get to enjoy all of the incredible benefits that the United States offers all citizens.
Like, healthcare? Okay.
Well, and under Democrat policies, all criminal invaders as well. But you get my point. It's also long overdue that leaders in the black community apologize for N-word behavior. Obviously, the N-word isn't a term to describe members of an entire race. It's a term that is used to describe the behavior of members of a particular race that makes a distinction between a certain group of them and another group of them. Sort of like white trash doesn't refer to all white people. It refers to a subset of white.
Remember, he doesn't believe this. Everything he says is just worthless. He just wants people to die. 1.9 million subscribers, by the way. Allowed to do this on YouTube. Presumably monetized, maybe. This video has, well, actually not that much, to be fair. 130,000 views. He's falling off slightly, but he makes one of these videos every day. He sells merch. He sells books. He earns quite a living off of this. You can just say this on YouTube now. People say stuff like this all the time. This is not like an anomaly. I haven't went out and found the worst video. People just say stuff like this all the time. And again, it's this fascist thing again of, you can never really commit to a position. It's always got to be coached in contradiction of, I don't support, the N-word. It doesn't describe this whole group of people. But if I don't like them, I can use it. And like, oh, but no, double standard. They always appeal to double standard, real or false. They're so cowardly. They can never just commit, it's like, oh well, with white people, white trash, and like pretending that's the same thing. I'm not going into that. We know he just wants to kill people. I think even if you've never seen Mark Knight before, even if you're not a leftist, even if this is the first thing you've seen, I think combined just by him and by me, between us, we've shown you that he just wants people to die. I hope if anyone thinks I'm exaggerating or I'm taking it too far, please comment below. We can try and go through maybe, what do you think these people would do? Like, why do you think he said this? Why do you think he said that? What do you think these people are actually like? Because here's the thing of like, they got big in 2016 based off this veneer of reasonability. It's a bit like transphobes, where it's all about the reasonable concerns. It's all about the toilets. They're obsessed with the toilets. Where, you know, 0.5% of the population, where supposedly they want to go into that toilet, and, you know, it's a women's issue. That's a discussion. But you can tell in the way that they act, the other things that they say, their approach to it, you can tell by their soul, looking at them, looking into their eyes. It's not about the reasonable concerns. They just want people to suffer and cry and scream and die. It's quite dark, but, you know, you gotta work against it.
People based off of their behaviors. Stay tuned because there's plenty more to come in this video, but real quick, this is the last week to order anything from markdice.com.
Okay, Mark, thank you. Oh god, this is cringe. I feel like I'll end it after this, but I just have to show you this part of the video because this is actually quite cringe. See, this is, oh my god. This is the fuel. This is what I'm talking about by the fuel, okay? Look at this. Oh, come on, Mark, hurry up. This is also the most replayed part of the video, by the way. There's a big spike in it. People have come back to watch this.
This was the entertainment at Jasmine Crockett's Senate kickoff party. Brace yourselves because there is mega cringe coming in 3, 2.
She ain't never scared and she ain't never been. Who is willing to go toe-to-toe against the president? I can't wrap my head around someone who votes Republican. She advocate for feeding kids, they protect folks touching them. Trump invading his own country with our army, what a joke. We remember Pearl Harbor by illegally bombing boats. What y'all thought we wasn't gonna do?
This is not a parody, by the way. This really happened. And this really happened.
I don't know who the fuck that is, but... God. Look at my opposition, man. We're never stopping the financial crashes. We're never stopping the financial crashes. Fucking hell.
It happened too, in case you missed it. This is the quality of the dialogue that Jasmine Crockett brings to Washington, D.C.
Ooh, you're about to see another thing here. This is just a... I'll finish it after this. But this is basically just a cavalcade of... tropes used against black people, stereotypes about black people, classic fascist indicators. It's really a playbook. It's like a textbook. So I guess we've caught up with Mark a little bit now. He's now relatively openly fascist. Won't say the N-word, won't say slavery is good, presumably won't deny the Holocaust. That's the level he's at. But let's look at this. This is a classic. Take it away.
Order.
I'm trying to get clarification.
Look at, calm down. Calm down.
No.
White woman telling the black woman to calm down. She quite calmly but strongly said, I'm trying to get clarification. And then she actually stopped speaking. She wasn't continuously speaking. She stopped speaking. And then the white right-winger tries to rile her up by telling a woman to calm down. Okay?
No, because this is what y'all do. So I'm trying to get
Miss Crockett, you're not recognized. Miss Crockett.
I can't hear you with your yelling.
Don't want
calm
me
down.
To be,
Can you please calm down?
Don't tell me to calm down.
Calm down.
Because y'all talk noise and then you
You're
can't
out of
take
control.
Because if I
Look, Chairman,
come and talk
outside to
shit
take a
about
break
her,
for 5
y'all
minutes?
gonna have a problem.
Mr. Chairman.
All right, Chair.
I don't know why
Okay.
you're
Order.
acting
Chair
like
now
that.
recognizes.
Another one of the...
Yeah, so we know what that is. Just very much trying to ultra patronize the black woman to get a rise out of her. I'm trying to see what she said right at the end there. I don't know why your what is like. It's probably something racist. Said something racist. I'm assuming. Should we stay with Mark, or do we know where he is?
Killers of her campaign is to make Americans less safe by hiring a bunch of DEI airline pilots, which, by the way, won't happen under the Trump administration.
Okay, whatever. We've caught up with Mark. Whether you've seen Mark before, whether you haven't seen Mark before, I hope and I think you've got the gist. 2015, 2016, 2017, milquetoast, mainstream, moderate, conservative. I've just got some reasonable concerns about these crazy SJW left-wingers. 2026, he wants to fucking fire up the trains and deport all black people. He didn't say that, but I think basic media competence and basic media comprehension, you can see this added with my notes and come to that conclusion yourself. This is very clear. What he wants is very clear. The type of person he is very clear. I think it's done. Let's have a look to cap off how well Mark's doing. Okay. So yeah, almost, not every day anymore. Basically every 2 days. Every 2 days he will post a video. Last video, 4 hours ago, 63,000 views. Black fragility flare-up. Something's going on with this tennis star and others. He means black people. 2 days ago, 220,000 views. More than this video. Big Mike is back with some new advice for black people. And it's beyond insane. And when he says Big Mike, he means Michelle Obama, and the thumbnail is like a pretty masculine man with dreads, of course, and a goatee. Yeah, representing the conventionally attractive woman, Michelle Obama, because of the thing about she's actually secretly a man. He doesn't believe that, but he pretends he does because he wants black people to die. Then before that, 205,000 views, 187,000 views from 7 days ago. See, the racial caricature, the direct racial caricature is a real hit with his audience. 11 days ago, 174,000. So yeah, some of them really, it really depends on how much active racism is being displayed. Peaked over 202,000 views for Meet Georgina Floyd. And then, a gender swap of George Floyd in the thumbnail. So basically, whenever he does a racial caricature, bump in popularity. Let's go back 2 weeks ago, 250,000. 1 month ago, 380,000, because it's about Tucker Carlson versus Ben Shapiro. This video that we just seen a month ago, 137,000. So he's not doing gangbusters right now. He doesn't get those millions of views anymore. Basically every video of his, I think, I used to remember, would get over 1 million views in his heyday. He's fallen off a little bit, but this stuff is creeping back. It's making a little bit of a comeback. Things are getting more polarized. I know it's a very cliche thing to say, but it really is. The left wing is big, the right wing is big. There's not much of a center. But that's Mark. That's intellectual titan and ex-YouTube titan Mark Dice with 1.9 million subscribers, who really struggles to top 200,000 views these days. So yeah, fuck you, Mark. We all know what you are. We know what you are, Mark. And yeah, join me again. Next time it'll be Sydney Watson, an Australian woman who also kind of wants black people to die. Thank you for watching if you got this far. Yeah, just going to be reacting to things in this series. Bit more casual, to be honest with you. It's a bit of an algorithm play. There's only so many times you can say that socialism's good. What am I meant to do? Keep uploading the same video? Instead of uploading the same video, I'm going to keep uploading the same type of video. But yeah, next time be Sydney Watson. Try and have a good day. Thank you. Bye-bye.